You drive past a Porsche dealership and you see rows of 911s and Cayennes gleaming under showroom lights, and you think, whoever owns this place must be swimming in cash, because a single Taycan sells for more than most people make in a year, and if they move even 10 cars a month, that sounds like an empire built on autopilot. But here is the part. Almost nobody tells you the dealership itself barely makes money on the car you just admired, and the real fortune hides somewhere you would never think to look. Most people assume owning a Porsche dealership means owning a money printer, because the sticker prices are enormous, and the brand feels untouchable, and rich people don't haggle right, so margins must be huge too. But that assumption is the mistake that quietly bankrupts dealers who jump into luxury auto retail thinking prestige equals profit. The truth is, a new Porsche often carries a profit margin thinner than a fast food combo meal, sometimes just 3 or 4% of the sale price. And on a car that costs $120,000, that is maybe $4,000 of actual profit before you even touch overhead rent, staff insurance, and the floor plan interest the dealer pays every single day just to have that car sitting there unsold. Here is how people get trapped chasing this dream. An entrepreneur with real capital, say $8 to $15 million in liquid net worth, because that is roughly the bar Porsche sets before they even let you apply, decides the brand prestige alone will carry the business. They picture a lifestyle of shaking hands with doctors and tech founders and collecting checks while customers beg to overpay for a car with a crest on it. So they sink millions into land that meets Porsche's exact architectural specifications. Because Porsche does not let you slap a logo on any old building, they require a specific glass and steel showroom design that can cost $3 to $5 million before a single car arrives, and then they sign the franchise agreement and discover the manufacturer controls almost everything: the inventory allocation, the pricing floor, the mandatory tool sets, the technician certifications, and even how many of each model they are permitted to sell in a given year. This is where the real problems start showing up. First, there is inventory risk, because Porsche allocates cars to dealers, not the other way around, meaning you don't get to order exactly what your local market wants. You get what the factory decides to send you. And if that shipment is heavy on manual transmission, GT models in a market full of buyers who want SUVs, you are stuck floor planning a car that might sit for months while interest accrues on the loan you took out just to have it in the lot. Second, there is the service department paradox, because Porsche owners are famously loyal to factory service, which sounds great, until you realize the dealership has to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in specialized diagnostic equipment and send technicians through expensive certification programs and pay them premium wages just to keep that repeat business. And if the service bay is not humming at close to full capacity, that entire investment becomes a drag on profit rather than the engine of it. Third, there is the used car and trade-in game, because a dealer who only profits on new car margins is running a business on fumes, but a dealer who masters certified pre-owned Porsches, where margins can run 5 to 8 times higher than new car margins, is running an actual business. And most new owners do not understand this distinction until they are 2 years in and wondering why the balance sheet looks thin, despite a packed showroom. Fourth, and this is the one that ends careers there, is the capital intensity trap. A single Porsche dealership can require $20 to $40 million in total investment when you add the real estate, the building, the initial floor plan inventory, and working capital. And if you financed most of that, the interest alone on floor plan debt can eat 6 figures a month before you sell a single car. Owners who treated this like a normal small business, open with thin cash reserves, and get steamrolled the first time a slow sales quarter meets a rising interest rate environment. Because floor plan interest is not fixed. It moves with the market, and a half-point rate increase across $40 million of inventory financing is real money disappearing every single month. So, how does anyone actually win at this? The successful Porsche dealers do not think of themselves as car sellers. They think of themselves as recurring revenue operators, who happen to use cars as the entry point. The new car sale is treated almost like a loss leader, a way to get a wealthy customer into your ecosystem, where the real profit lives, which is parts service and the certified pre-owned pipeline. A well-run service department with high bay utilization can generate more annual profit than the entire new car sales floor, because labor rates on specialized German engineering work run high, and parts markups on OEM Porsche components are significantly fatter than the razor-thin margin on the car itself. The smartest owners also build relationships with their existing customer base to control the used car supply directly, so when a client trades in a 2-year-old 911, that car never touches an auction. It goes straight to certified pre-owned reconditioning and resells at a margin that makes the original new car sale look like pocket change. The other lesson successful owners learn fast is that customer relationships compound over decades, not transactions. A Porsche buyer who feels genuinely taken care of does not just buy one car. They buy a Macan for their spouse, a 911 for themselves, and they bring their kid in for a first Boxster 10 years later, and every one of those touch points funnels back through service and parts for the life of ownership, which for a Porsche buyer with real means might mean owning a new one every 3 to 4 years for the rest of their life. That lifetime value dwarfs the profit on the original sale, and it is the actual reason private equity groups and large dealer conglomerates have been quietly buying up Porsche franchises, even while insisting publicly that margins are tight, because they understand the business is not selling cars, it is owning a wealthy customer relationship for 20 or 30 years. There is also a quieter advantage that most outsiders never consider, which is exclusivity itself as a moat. Porsche deliberately limits the number of dealerships per region, which means an owner who secures one of these franchises is not just buying a business, they are buying a scarce license that competitors cannot simply replicate by opening down the street. That scarcity alone can make the franchise itself appreciate in value over time, separate from whatever profit the day-to-day operation throws off, which is why some owners who bought in decades ago are sitting on franchise value worth many multiples of their original investment, even before counting a single year of operating profit. If you came to me wondering whether this business is actually as good as it looks from the outside, here is what I would tell you to do. Do not walk into a luxury dealership deal chasing the sticker price fantasy walk-in, understanding you are buying a service and relationship business that happens to have a beautiful car in the lobby. Model your cash flow around service bay utilization and certified pre-owned turnover before you ever get excited about new car allocation numbers. And make sure whatever capital structure you use can survive 18 months of a slow market, because floor plan interest does not pause for a recession. And if you are not the one buying the dealership, but you are watching this as an investor or just someone fascinated by how wealth actually gets built in industries that look glamorous from the outside, the real takeaway is the same one that shows up in almost every high-status business you will ever study, which is that the money is rarely in the thing everyone is staring at. It is in the boring, recurring, unglamorous system running quietly behind it. If this kind of breakdown is the type of thing that makes your brain light up, subscribe, because next video, I am pulling back the curtain on another business that looks like pure glamour on the surface and turns out to be a completely different machine once you see the real numbers.